Well, hello, free people of the Rocky Mountain region. This is Brandon from Free State, Colorado, and I hope you're doing well. As you may expect, I got some good news and some not so good news. But hey, that's Colorado here in 2025. You got to take the good with the bad, celebrate the victories when we get them, and of course, call it the bad policy when we see it. So this article is from CPR.org, CPR News, Colorado Public Radio, which is still managing to function even without taxpayer money. We'll see if that lasts or not. August 5th, 2025, Colorado will restrict using SNAP benefits to buy soda and sugary beverages. Awesome. I think that's a win. I think that's a good thing. You know, unfortunately, we hear stories, a lot of anecdotes about how some of these SNAP benefits and other programs are abused and used poorly, kind of outside the scope of what the taxpayers should be paying for. So I think this is a win. I don't think that this is a necessary thing for food stamps to go towards. So, Colorado has received a waiver from the U.S. Department of Agriculture to restrict the use of SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program benefits, to purchase soft drinks and sugary beverages. SNAP is designed to help low income families supplement their grocery budgets so they can afford more nutritious foods. The waivers allow states greater flexibility to manage their programs. So, under this, sugary beverages with at least 5 grams of sweetener per 12 ounces will be excluded. Sweetened beverages, such as soft drinks with either sugar or artificial sweeteners, are also ineligible for SNAP. What will still be eligible for SNAP is milk based drinks and 100% juice drinks. So, fair enough there. So, unfortunately, though, there's more to the story, not the end of the story. There's actually three waivers that Colorado applied for in March, which we'll get into here in a second. But just take a few seconds to celebrate this victory and to say, hey, this is a good thing. And what's so interesting, too, is Colorado is the only blue state on this list of states that are pushing for these quote unquote Maha soda bans. So, this is an article from thehill.com, August 10th, 2025. Thought it was interesting here. Republican led states are leading the charge to ban soda and candy from their food assistance programs. As RFK Jr.'s Make America Healthy Again MAHA movement flips traditional partisanship on its head, Colorado is the only blue state to seek and have a soda ban waiver approved, and the only waiver state to propose expanding SNAP benefits in conjunction with limiting its scope. So, pretty interesting there to see how that works here. The other states that have claimed waivers are Arkansas, Colorado, Florida, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Texas, Utah, and West Virginia. So definitely Colorado's the one that stands out on that list, being a little bit different than the others. But hey, it's a good thing. Glad to see Colorado making the right decision here. Of course, the governor is slapping himself on the back, talking about how wonderful he is, how great this is, how Colorado is going to be healthy because of it. His little press release here from August 4th, 2025 has some interesting information here at the bottom, which I thought was interesting. So let's get into those other two additional waivers here. Colorado awaits approval of two additional waiver provisions that would permit SNAP participants to buy a full range of hot prepared foods from grocery stores, including roasted chickens, and streamline the process for farmers market vendors to accept SNAP payments, which expands the range of locally produced food products available to SNAP recipients. Okay, not too bad so far, but here we go. In addition, Senate Bill 25-169, which the governor signed in May, directs the Colorado Department of Human Services to submit an application to the USDA to seek approval to allow SNAP recipients to use their benefits at participating restaurants. Wow. The governor says this is especially impactful for households with barriers to preparing food. And I get it. There's some challenges out there. People are in some rough situations, maybe that they can't really cook for themselves. But at the same time, the idea of this SNAP program, of this kind of EBT setup here, is to give people the ability to purchase food. And when you have to pay for somebody cooking it, it increases the cost a lot. This is not the idea of why we're doing this in my mind. I think this is a horrible idea. But that's what we got going on here in Colorado, participating restaurants. So let's take a look here at Senate Bill 25-169. I would say it was a really bad bill. Talked about it during the legislative session. We got Amon Jode, a horrible senator down there, and unfortunately, we got Senator Rod Pelton, a Republican senator, signing on to this. One of the prime sponsors of this bill. I mean, come on, I get it. There's people out there, probably people in his district, who like the idea of being able to use their SNAP EBT cards at restaurants. But come on, folks, this is not what the program's for. We know it's going to be abused. And then we got little Yara Zokai. one of the worst legislators that we've seen in Colorado, and I'll get more into her in a second. But this bill 169 unfortunately passed with pretty much flying colors. One of the most disappointing things here in Colorado is how bad Republican senators are. So check this out. This is if let me blow this up a little bit here. So this is the Senate votes on April 21st, 2025, third reading. 34 to 1. 34 to 1 this bill passed out of our state Senate. Now you can, if you've been following Colorado state politics, you know who that one no is, and that's going to be Senator Mark Baisley, truly our most pro-liberty senator we have down there at the state legislature, putting everybody else to shame. I mean, it's crazy that we had all these Republican senators think that this is a good idea. Fortunately, we have some better representation in the House. We have more pro-liberty leaders in the state House than in the Senate, of course, where we actually had 21 vote against it. We have 22 Republicans in the House. Mary Bradfield, not a great Republican, unfortunately voted for the bill, but all the others stood strong and did the right thing, voted against it. So interesting there. I always like looking at those vote totals. Links at Free State Colorado, of course. You can come check it out and dig in to see if your legislator voted for this bill or not. But Senate Bill 169 was covered in the media back then. And there's little Yara, one of the worst dressed and probably one of the most economically ignorant legislators we've seen recently. Absolutely horrible policy positions, and somebody that we should not be letting near the state capitol at all, in my opinion. Of course, back then she was talking about how incredible this is going to be for people to be able to go to restaurants, to be able to use their EBT cards, to go to places like Burger King and Subway and other places. I mean, we see this across the country, unfortunately. I mean, we accept EBT. Here we go with the McDonald's sign. Here's one from a tweet here with it all over McDonald's. We welcome EBT. And I mean, this is going to be the reality here in Colorado, folks, with this type of legislation. So, on one hand, you got the governor, talking about how wonderful he is by getting sugary drinks and sodas not covered by food stamps, by EBT, the SNAP program. And then at the same time, at the very bottom of his little press release, he's like, yeah, but we're going to allow restaurants, qualifying restaurants, participating restaurants, places like McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's, Taco Bell, some of these other places will be able to accept these EBT cards and get that SNAP money. So, I mean, come on, folks. This is why you got to really pay attention to these legislators. They are in such a bad place in terms of where we're at in Colorado, if you ask me. But I wanted to post this article as well, or at least get your attention on it. So this is a very recent one, August 11th, 2025. What you need to know about Colorado's hiring freeze and upcoming special session. Marianne Goodland. She's always got some very interesting information. And at the very bottom of her article, she talks a little bit about, just while we're on the subject, about this food stamp program. So she points out here, I'm just going to read this section. HR 1 makes major changes to the SNAP program, which analysts say will cost Colorado about $150 million. Wow, beginning in 2026 to 2027. The special session will look at a change to the November 2025 ballot measure dealing with the state's Healthy Meals for All program, a tax increase on households with incomes above $300,000 per year and approved in 2022 by voters as Proposition FF. Now, I was really against Proposition FF back in 22. I think it's a bad policy. I don't think it's the role of government to try and feed people necessarily, right? I mean, people, let us keep our tax money, let us keep the money we earn. We have other ways to deal with that in society. We don't need the government because we know there's going to be waste. We know there's going to be fraud. We know the system's going to be abused and it's going to be politicized. I mean, how can it not be? We see all these cuts going on right now with the Medicaid situation, with HR 1, the big beautiful bill, all these other situations. It's nonstop in the news talking about how all these people are losing Medicaid, they're losing SNAP, they're losing this, they're losing that. These programs all become politicized. And then you have political parties, political candidates, all these people fighting and really trying to use these programs to get votes. That's what it comes down to. But anyway, here, back to her article. The program has run in the red from almost the beginning. So that's Proposition FF, folks. They said it's going to cost X amount of dollars. Ended up costing a lot more than that. They've been in the red, having to cut back on all their promises that they promised voters. As it usually goes, Proposition FF promised a lot, free food for everybody in schools. All these kids are going to be able to eat nice, healthy meals. And then they immediately ran out of money. Unable to deliver on their promises, government business as usual. There was more demand than revenue. That was as initially estimated by the General Assembly's Blue Book. Lawmakers in the 2025 session approved two ballot measures under House Bill 25-1274, which would ask voters to allow the state to retain all revenues collected under the ballot initiative. So they want to keep more of our money, which in May was estimated at an additional $105 million beginning in 26, 27. So we're going to see that. They're going to take more of our money. And then they're going to use that Proposition FF money, the money that was supposed to go for kids' school lunches, for SNAP program, for the SNAP benefits, so people can go get their McDonald's. The the special session will look at extending some of these Proposition FF monies to SNAP. For Andino, the budget director estimated Proposition FF would receive more money as a result of HR 1's tax benefits to Coloradans with more income. So guess what? They're going to be collecting more tax money because people's taxes are cut. And so there you go. Once the program is funded, the state would direct what's left over to the state's SNAP match. It won't cover the $150 million that the state will lose from federal match, but it could cover $40 to $80 million, analysts said. So there you go, folks. They're going to take money from the Proposition FF program, which is going to be on the ballot this fall. Don't fall for it again. Vote no, 100% vote no on whatever ballot measure the government's asking to take more money with all these promises that don't come to fruition. They're going to use that money to send it over to SNAP programs, and we're going to see we take EBT signs all over McDonald's if this continues. So had to make sure this got out there to people. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Really appreciate all the views. We'll be talking to you again soon. Take care.